Okay.
Hello, YouTube. This is Piss and Moan, and today we're going to talk about Incredibles 2. We're going to talk about Incredibles 2.
For some reason.
It's a Pixar movie. I'll give my opinion
you
first, because I think we disagree on this one. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I definitely don't think it's anywhere near as good as the first one, but it was really good. I don't know. I think it maybe spoke to me more because I'm a parent now, and I've got the 2 kids at home, and the just
I have a family too. I have parents and a sister. I know how being part of a family works. It's not a valid argument because it's just because it doesn't make any sense as an argument, man.
Well, I'm just saying. I think movies have definitely impacted me differently now that I'm a father than they did when I was a person. Like that scene in Meg with the
daughter.
Yes, that really hit me hard, and I guarantee it wouldn't have in college. I definitely am impacted differently by movies now that I'm a father. I don't know why. It's just, well, clearly I know why, but sorry, I wasn't trying to say that like you're.
I didn't like it because I don't have a family.
No, I just think I was saying it affected me differently than it would have otherwise because I'm a new father. It's impacted a lot of my movies because I could just relate to the dad difficulties of like trying to run the family. It is so hard. Relate. It spoke to me. I did think the villain was a little uninspired, but overall I thought it was a pretty good movie. I didn't have too many complaints. I don't think it was phenomenal. It definitely wasn't revolutionary and amazing like the first one, but I'd give it a solid like 8 out of 10.
And I hated pretty much every second of it. It was a basic Marvel movie in terms of structure, advancing the family and the story as a whole didn't work. Because stuff like Toy Story 3 follows the audience as it ages. This one didn't really seem to. Rather than, this one picks up right after the first movie ends, as opposed to, like, Toy Story 3, which is actually as many years apart. Let's see. Man, it's been a while.
I know it's been a while. I was struggling to think of my thoughts at the time. I felt like the superheroes kind of got caught too easily.
Well, for me, it was... I was hoping to see more of a world with supers again and how that was handled. That's what I was going in hoping to see. But the plot was prepping the world to be ready for superheroes. And it didn't.
It didn't really make sense because supposedly the heroes are still illegal, but there was never any, like, police involvement or any repercussions for her.
It didn't accomplish anything it said it was going to in the beginning. That was my big problem with the movie. The opening heist scene with the Underminer kind of ruined the end of the last movie. I mean, it was such a minor scene in the last movie, but it was... Trying to remember the fight. There was something that bugged me about the fight. It wasn't so much that they lost. I think it was that they... it was the first thing. The first thing they did, they divide the family. Because to me, that was the best part of Incredibles, was the family coming together at the end. And this whole movie divides the family again.
Yeah. And it starts off with that premise, when it really didn't have any reason to.
Yeah, because...
the reason to divide them by the company, I felt made sense. But...
A bit, yes.
That intro part didn't make a lot of sense. They've been working together as a team. Like, they've come to terms with the fact that this is dangerous. You don't just...
Yeah, and then it's, you kid, go away, you kid also go away.
We're just jumping into spoilers?
Well, this isn't a spoiler. This is the first scene.
We're getting there, though.
It's... Well, let's see, because I want to recommend... I don't want anyone to see it. I don't want Disney to...
You think it's that bad?
Yes, I do. I really do. I felt like... It felt like a cash-in on the Incredibles name rather than an advancement of the story to me.
Okay, I can definitely agree. I didn't see it as much of an advancement of the story. Well, I don't know. Something they didn't explore in the first one was Bob's relationship with his family much. they kind of barely hit on it and explored it much. They explored it more with because I don't know. The first Incredibles, they have a dysfunctional family. They have a dysfunctional marriage, and they've kind of fixed that up. And now they kind of explore. I felt great about the household dynamic and what that went on to from there.
They sidelined the kids. The kids had nothing to do. They were nothing but there to be a tool to advance Bob's character. Dash did nothing in the movie. Violet did nothing in the movie. I mean,
they save the day.
No, they don't. They save their parents, who then save the day.
Okay. That seems... Oh. Yeah, we're getting into spoilers. Yeah, we just dove into spoilers. I say, no, I told you it was coming.
Yep. So, yeah. Basically,
But that's what they did in the last movie, too. Actually, no, they didn't even do that. They did less than that.
No, they were helpful in the last movie. It was... Because they each had their part to play in the final scene. Dash's final place in the last scene was to hit a button. And Violet's was to stand in front of the boat using shields. Shield.
Actually, but that's basically all they did in the first one,
No,
too.
she grabs the remote and runs with it. She's invisible. There's so much that they do. Because Dash goes all throughout the city, running away with
through all through the city. It's pretty small how much he runs.
That's not the important part.
Well, he doesn't... I mean, he literally has the remote thrown to him, and he runs away. Like, that's all he really does. That fight scene at the end is actually pretty short.
Well... It's the whole movie. What else does Dash do? What does Dash do in 2? Because in the first one, he saves his sister's life. He beats up a bunch of bad guys. He runs all across the damn jump. He has stuff to do.
Yes, he definitely does run through. But they did a lot of fighting of superheroes in the boat. They assisted in...
Not really. No, he chased around Jack. He chased around Jack the entire time in the boat. And I don't even remember.
Okay, that's fair. I don't think they gave... they didn't give Dash the... I don't know, the attention he deserved. And it's hard to juggle that many main characters. It's a problem the Avengers have.
First movie did it?
They didn't have Jack. Jack did not play the role he did in this one that he did in the first one.
Well, and Jack was the worst part of this movie, if you ask me.
Really? I did not have a problem with Jack at all.
I absolutely hated that raccoon scene. That was
the raccoon scene was completely pointless.
That was the worst scene of the summer, if you ask me.
The summer?
I can't think of anything I hated worse. God, stop the movie for a Family Guy skit.
Yeah,
God damn.
That really was out of place. There was no point in that being in the film. Like, all the stuff with Jack outside of that was totally fine, but that really didn't have any place. There was no point to it. It was literally just a gag.
And it didn't make any sense.
It would have been better as, like, a Pixar short film.
Yeah, and because... Well, that's the other... That reminds me. It was 100% revisionist history with the ending, because with the Jack attack short, they have the family coming home to find out he had powers. So Helen not knowing Jack had powers.
I didn't understand how she didn't know.
Yeah, because she caught him out of the air.
Well, maybe she didn't see him up there doing his stuff.
Either way, the babysitter saw and would have been able to tell, and freaked out through the messages.
Yeah, but that didn't tell what was happening. Just some weird stuff was going on, and then got kidnapped. It's ambiguous enough that I could see it.
It's not ambiguous enough for me, because they would have had to wipe. They had to wipe the babysitter's memories in order to find out that she needed memories wiped. They would have to know she knew about the supers.
True. They would have had to have known that. Well, no, because she ran into Syndrome. No, that doesn't make very good sense.
With Syndrome,
I'm having to do Last Jedi levels of explanation to get through this. So I'm going to side with you. You're right.
It was revisionist history for the end of the first movie,
and it also doesn't make sense why he didn't tell her.
Yeah,
that like you should have called, and that just doesn't make sense. That doesn't fit with his character. He's matured enough beyond that shouldn't have been there.
It was a Last Jedi character regression.
But that was the only place that I really saw it, because him being quiet about how much he's struggling, that I could see.
That's fine. Yeah. I mean, because you don't want the family to worry. But to me, it was...
I think part of it may have been that you went in with such high expectations, given that it was an
No, I didn't. I went in with low expectations.
Okay.
I was not expecting it to be as good as the first one.
Because I liked a lot of it. I definitely have to concede some of these points to you, and I don't feel it takes away from the overall.
I didn't like the trailer.
I just specifically did not watch the trailers. That was not a problem for me.
It was, and
I saw the part where it just did the Incredibles 2, and that's it. That's all I watched for this. I try to avoid trailers actively.
I'm trying to remember specific complaints because I think I had one about the train chase. Oh, I believe at some point they actively the train chase and the destruction of the track at the end is basically the same thing that happened in the beginning of the first movie that got all the superheroes in trouble, and it didn't cause any problems in this one. The goal of the villain was to make everyone hate superheroes and not do it. The problem is they thwarted the villain's plans by doing almost nothing different. Like they talk about it like the problem is solved when they crash the boat in the shore, but no, people are still going to be like, "What the hell are those supers up to now?" They didn't.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a good resolution there. They saved the day, but the publicity's still going to look pretty bad.
Yeah, it was still just as destructive as all the problems that caused superhero to be banned.
I wouldn't say it's just as destructive because there wasn't any injuries involved with that. I think that was the thing with the train, because Mr. Incredible stopped it so aggressively.
Well,
I can't remember.
She did the same thing, rubber arms instead of super.
Well, that's a lot different on. So think of like running into something super hard that's really pushing a lot of force on it, as opposed to it's
We're
like
arguing
Spider-Man.
physics.
Well, it is. I don't think they would have all experienced whiplash in the same way as running into Mr. Incredible.
Okay, but it's still all the same problems from the first movie that they say suddenly are okay.
Yeah, I don't think they addressed it well. I'm just saying that your specific point that it's the same isn't. I don't think they would have all been injured the way they were in the first one. Because that's what the thing was. They were all suing because of injuries. Like, I've got whiplash, he hurt me trying to die, and all that stuff. There's lawsuits because there isn't that, like, Good Samaritan sort of law where you're not liable for things you do when helping people.
Alright. It's
a nitpicky point, but I'm going to pick that nit.
Well, I hated the villain. Well, I kind of hate Disney's new trend of we have to hide the villain until the very end kind of thing. Because when she walked in the room, I leaned over to my dad and said, "That's the villain right there."
I felt that was pretty obvious. I was kind of a toss-up between her and her brother, and maybe that they were a duo. I thought maybe the brother was in on it, or maybe that he was the villain. But I definitely felt that one of them two was the villain. It was kind of obvious.
She walks in as a put-upon character, that's the villain. She's carrying all kinds of stuff, stumbling into the office, looking harassed. It's the villain.
Yeah. I don't feel like making it a mystery until the end added anything.
No.
And I feel like getting her motivations throughout the movie would have helped the movie along. And just made it clear that she's the villain. And
they were trying for a plot twist, and they don't need a plot twist. You don't always need to put a plot twist in your movie.
Especially if it's going to be kind of a poor one. The kids might get twisted by the plot, but then they're just confused. Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a good idea to stick big plot twists into a kid's movie.
They've been doing it since Frozen. And the only reason they did it in Frozen is because they wrote their villains so poorly, they had to turn her into a hero.
Yeah.
And God, it messes the whole movie.
I think that was great. I still love that twist in Frozen.
It does not make any sense with the rest of the movie.
We're going to have to do a review of Frozen.
We watched that movie, and I said, right here, let her die, and he wins the game. When they're in the ice castle, and the two people are charging her down, and she's about to have ice spikes dropped on her, if Hans had just let her die there, he would have won. And the only reason he didn't let her die there is so he could look like a hero until they needed their plot twist at the end.
I'm trying to remember where that was in the... Okay, yeah, I'm seeing where you're at.
There's a couple moments like that in Frozen. And the only time I think it's worked recently was Wreck-It Ralph with hiding Turbo.
Yeah.
I freaking love that twist.
That was a twist.
Yes.
That was a twist. Because it wasn't a twist and like, oh, so that's who the bad guy is. It's clear who the bad guy is. It's just,
holy
the
crap,
bad guy isn't
more
who we thought he was. He's a more historical bad guy than we thought.
Because he was already relevant to the film as a villain.
Yeah,
and he was He was the cautionary tale.
They
come
took
back to
two
haunt
bad guys and merged them together into one super bad guy. It'd be like if Darth Vader took off his mask and he was actually the Emperor.
Shut up.
Hey, Last Jedi, you can see it happening. Kylo Ren takes off his mask and it's not actually... He is smoke.
If we're going to complain about... Fine, I'm changing it up. I'm going to complain about Force Awakens. You know, in Force Awakens, they should not have had Ben reveal who he was until he was on the bridge with Han. That would have been a really cool reveal.
Oh, that would have. That would have been really good.
Because he looks like a scarred kid. Cause just walk out this badass villain and it's just a kid. It's Han's kid. And it would have been perfect.
Yeah, that would have made the first one a lot better. A whole lot better.
Disney, call me.
Or just do some work. Just a little bit of work.
Toxic fans, my ass.
The more I'm thinking about the recent Disney movies, I am worried about. Is Wreck-It Ralph Disney?
Yes.
Wreck-It Ralph 2 could be pretty bad.
It looks like Emoji Movie, too. They go on the internet and play all the internet games.
That doesn't make it bad, though. Just makes it risky.
I cut my hand. What did I do to my hand?
I had a bunch of blisters, so I've got all these like skin patches now from where they've healed, and the dead skin is
this
now...
This is what you came to hear about, right?
Blisters! Minor skin abrasions. I've got a big one on my toe that's resulted in like some weird pointy toe. Like, just... If you feel the edge of my toe, it's got like a sharp edge to it. I'm not going to feel the edge of your toe. It's like it's weird. My toes are just misshapen. What else about it, though? I still don't see... Like, what do you give it for a rating? I'm curious. Like, it's not got to be...
3 or 4.
Okay. Like, you don't even give it average? Like, it was a...
No. Okay, maybe. I felt personally betrayed by the movie, so, I mean... Maybe it's a 6 or 7. Maybe, but I'm going to give it a 3 or 4 because...
That's fair. I mean, if it is your personal rating. What you thought of it.
It's because what Incredibles did right was it defined each of the characters and then brought them together.
You know, we should do some retro reviews.
I would love to do retro reviews.
I'd love to review both Frozen and Incredibles. Incredibles because it's a masterpiece, and Frozen because it's a masterpiece.
Incredibles is one of my top 10 movies. And that's probably what killed Incredibles 2 so much for me. Is because I love Incredibles 1. It's just got...
I think they could get away with having... They could have gone away with someone else saving Elsa underneath that chandelier. Especially because his sister was right there.
They could have done other things, but they didn't.
No. It's a plot hole. I mean, sometimes movies do them. Especially because they had to rewrite the ending. I like the ending, but it's definitely a plot hole. I can't argue with you there. Oversight. Sometimes they happen. Sometimes a mug gets left in the scene.
And I saw a video that was bitching people out for having problems with plot holes. It's suspension of disbelief. If you kill it, you can't enjoy it. You're taken out of a movie, and that's the number one thing.
Absolutely. Like that raccoon scene was really... I enjoyed it. It was fun, but it shouldn't have been in the movie. It should have been a side movie. Like a Pixar short. It completely killed the mood. It's not like you needed that slowdown in the film. It was already very nicely paced between the action-packed of Mrs. Incredible and the family situation. You didn't need the raccoon fight to add downtime. Like, the movie already had it. There was enough funny and silliness that can just happen at home at the expense of Bob.
See, because I'm remembering the movie. I'm just not remembering exactly what I complained about. Because I had... the plot wasn't resolved. They just kind of said, oh, the villain's your sister's the bad guy. And it's like, oh, okay. The brother's response was wrong. Yeah, because he gets out of the car and like, we've captured your sister. She was the bad guy the whole time. He's like, all right. It's your freaking sister. You've been business partners with her all your life.
And you're absolutely right, though, that they didn't resolve the plot, because they kind of made it about this integrating supers back into society, and they just kind of acted like supers were just accepted. And they didn't really
Yeah, they did nothing different from the first movie in terms of damage to people around them. So,
I still disagree. No one was injured.
Maybe not people. The damage. Well, that was another big thing, was environmental damage, because that was in the opening.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Cause they destroyed the entire coast there.
Yeah.
And I think they hit a couple buildings as they came in too.
Maybe, I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think they just hit the. They may have though.
But
they didn't address it well enough. You're absolutely right. But I think what they're getting at was that with proper PR, you could turn those same things into a positive. That they were utilizing their PR firm to show that, just because there's negatives, like you portray it good and you can get the public on your side, which I think was the real ultimate, I thought, good theme that they were going to try to address, and they didn't. They just kind of touched on it and then just kind of kept on. There was a lot of good potential themes, like integrating supers back into society, how PR matters more than what they're actually doing. How
it was sidelined to have a surprise villain, and
yeah. I feel like if they just made the villain integrated and not had this whole mystery thing, and just kind of sped it along more and focused on a more good overarching plot like the first one.
And I wanted the family together, because I can't say it enough. The best part of First Incredible, even if that fight scene was short at the end, it was the fact that they were all four there with their own strengths contributing to the fight to take down the
Absolutely. It would have been nice to see that integrated more, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't disagree with you. It's not like that's what needed to happen.
Miss Incredible up in the mid-air fist fight with evil villain lady as they're falling through the sky and there's portals opening everywhere, and Violet being put in a spot so we don't have to watch what she's doing and just know that it's helping whatever she's doing. Dash has a button to press, and Mr. Incredible's under the ship doing anchor things.
Anchor things. Yeah. They didn't have a very good fight scene like they did with the first one. The lack of a real villain to fight, like the giant robot, really definitely did detract from the film. The cyber villain really wasn't that imposing, and neither was the League of Semi-Ordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah, everyone mind controlled, and what a cop out.
Yeah, cool concept, but
to me,
there should have been like a group fight scene.
It would have been nice to have actual villainous people. Because in the first one, it was, the speech was, these aren't like the bad guys you see on TV. They will try to kill you even if you're children. And this one, it's like, they're all good guys. They're just brainwashed. Be nice.
Yeah. It definitely was less of a serious tone. There's definitely some improvements that could be made. Okay, I'll bump it down to a 7.
I don't like doing that. I don't like ruining movies for that.
Oh, you haven't ruined it for me. I still love it. It like I said, it really hits me on a personal level how they handled the family life. I really enjoyed that. The Bob and Mom side of things, and that family dynamic I thought was handled really well. How hard it is to try and juggle everything.
Because the timeline wasn't established very well either. Because
she didn't know the baby had powers.
The baby didn't have powers. They were at a track meet for Dash, who was not in track. How do I explain? One of the main conflicts of the first one was Dash was not allowed to compete for professional sports. And then at the end, he's in a professional sport, which would have had to take up time for him to get to that level from the end of from the syndrome fight.
We would have at least had been able to join class. Yes. And the other thing to think about, who all puts their masks on when the Underminer comes up?
Everyone puts it on. Even Jack has one on.
Definitely some revisionist history in this one. And I don't think there was a reason why they had to make Jack's powers a secret. They could have had it exactly the same, and just him trying to downplay the seriousness and the rate of development.
It's manufactured tension. Tension he didn't need.
Yeah. That didn't even really exist. It didn't really add additional tension. It really didn't. It tried to.
Other things that bugged me, like the whole smart house gag where Dash is pressing buttons and the house is falling apart. Moving on. Don't care. It's another Family Guy sketch track.
That seemed like a not child safe house to me.
And I don't remember. I had something tied to the handling the remote in the first movie with that one, but I can't remember what it was at this point. Because no, I don't think he did handle Syndrome's remote in the first one. Because I think I was thinking if he was smart enough to handle Syndrome's remote in the first one, why can't he figure out this remote?
No, he didn't. He didn't. He struggled with Syndrome's remote. It ended up being Mom that grabbed it. That's why I was saying to you, like, you're so confident about how the kids did so much in the first.
They did. They prevented the robot from destroying the damn remote. Dash goes in, grabs it. Violet makes the shield.
Mm-hmm.
She goes invisible, grabs the remote, passes it to Dad, who throws it to Dash. They're all part of that scene.
Yes.
And then there's Dash, ready to press the button. And Violet doing whatever the hell Violet's doing.
You're so focused on the stupid boat finish. Like,
well, that's the climax of the movie. That's where it's supposed to all come together.
Well, the getting to that was what did it. Like, they had to get through the boat. They had to get to the parents,
but they didn't do that together. Dash was literally chasing Jack around the whole boat. Violet did the other part herself.
Okay, I can't remember if I thought Dash was there when they got the masks off. But I may be mistaken. It's been a while since I've watched it.
Same.
That whole boat scene kind of blurs together for me. Anything else, or do you want to move on to our final review of the night?
It's
getting late.
It is 8.
So, any words of wisdom for the viewers?